Hello, my name is Ryan Baim, and for this assignment I'm going to talk about the different web design principles that are essential to having a great website. And specifically, we're going to look at two different websites that are considered to be unusable and why they are considered to be that. And before I get into that, I'm going to talk about different web design principles that I feel are important for every website to have. And the reasons, I've learned this from different previous courses I've taken and also from this week's module lesson. So number one, I feel, is visual hierarchy in a website. So this has to do with the placement, sizing, and also the preparation of how all the elements of a website are placed and presented. So for example, when you want to have different headings and subtitles and paragraphs, the subtitles obviously categorize what the paragraph's about, and the title obviously categorizes what the whole subtitle and paragraphs are about. So the higher up on the textual element means each one categorizes what the whole section is about, basically. And as for also with hierarchy, the way images and also possibly the navigational toolbar is put on a website is very helpful, because usually you want your navigational toolbar to be on the top or side of your website so it's easily accessible and visually appealing to your website visitors, so they can easily access all the different pages for user navigation throughout the website. Now, another important design principle is color. So color is obviously visually appealing, so you want to catch something that matches the theme of what your website is about. And also with color, you want to have contrasting colors as well. So basically you want to have colors that balance each other out, so doesn't take from one color to another, but they equally are visually appealing and don't cross each other out. And they balance well is what I really wanted to say. They balance each other out. Also with that, you want to deal with spacing. And with spacing, you don't want to have a lot of clutter on your website so it's hard to read, and also clutter creates informational overload. So basically, if you have too much clutter, it's really hard for a user to read what's happening on your website. And also with that, you want to have alignment, so you want it to be easily legible, so your readers will be able to see what text and be able to read it clearly. And also typography has a big thing to do with web design. So besides it being visually appealing like color, different typographies it's better for visual enhancements. So users be able to be distinct about what they're looking for in the website. So for example, the title and subheadings and paragraphs usually all have different types of typography, which means different font sizes and colors, because then it's easily more organized and being able to read. So for example, the subheading might be a bold and larger font than the paragraphs, as the paragraphs might be a smaller font that are unbolded because there's so many words, as easily formatted the way so it's more visually appealing to read it underneath the subheadings. And with that being said, I'm going to look at the two websites I was able to find on Google that are considered to be unusable. So here's the first one. So obviously this is for bathtubs and replacing them. And the first thing I noticed when looking at this website is that there's so much cluster, which means that there's so much text in here that it's really hard to read. So they really have to do a better job with understanding that this is definitely considered to be informational overload for any person visiting this website, and they need to either cut down the amount of text they have or be able to spread it out more with alignment and different types of typography. This also has too much typography in it, so it's actually harder to read and distinguish which is which. And also, with that being said, this navigational toolbar I think is actually in a good place for it, but it's actually not well designed. They need a better design for their navigational toolbars for users to be able to see which section's which and make it more visually appealing than just having it like text like this. And with that being said, what else could be done with this is maybe definitely adding a background color than white, because white just makes this look like it's a Word document, so it's not visually appealing. So you have to have a nice contrasting color to maybe this purple or something like that. And also they need to do a better job with spacing out these images. As you can see, this is not formatted correctly, as it looks like it's condensed. So, and also spreading out the websites, and also using visual hierarchy in the sense of probably organizing it more, so like maybe have different sections labeled with the text underneath it to make it more clearly organized would be a better thing to do with this website. So now on to the second one. Yeah, this one's pretty bad too. This one has way too much typography in it, so they definitely have to condense the amount of text they have on this website. And also, with that being said, with their navigational toolbar, it's a good place on the side, but it's just way too long and too many aspects to it, so they definitely have to condense their navigational toolbar. And actually, the background image is not contrasting well with the main color of the website, so it's kind of distracting, so you need to have a more neutral background with that. And they also need to change this heading color, because this green has nothing to do with the rest of the colors that are presented, like the blue, the red, the black, and the white. And they have to do a better job with visual hierarchy, with using subheadings and headers versus just putting plain old text, and then with a different typography, bolding, and then having words in red is not good to do. So basically having a nice pattern, not only that, but condensing the amount of text is better for this website. And definitely organizational standpoint, the subheadings will help make the website more visually appealing with the amount of organization, as well as having different images coincide with all the different text to make it more visually appealing and user friendly to use this website. So here are the two examples I had, and I'm looking forward to this week's assignment as well as the next upcoming module. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I'll talk to you guys soon.